welcome to the start of Hudson Forest. I'm looking forward to doing this one because I get to build the sign blank out of these two pieces of cedar slab. This sign blank closest to me is a little bit thicker than the one here in the front, so I've got to get those planed down to a uniform thickness so we have a good looking sign blank to work with. First thing I've got to do though is I want to cut lines here and here. I've got them drawn. I want to cut those and get those blanks cut out that way, and then there's this line down the center, and I'll split that into two little pieces right here, and I'll do the same thing on this board right here. I'll cut lines, I've got cut lines here and here all the way down, and then I'll cut those, and that gives me 4 pieces that I'll run through my planer to get down to a uniform thickness. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to split these 4 bleases into more narrower strips and glue them together. That just helps with the lamination when I glue them together, and it helps to curtail any warpage. If I left these in the full lengths like this, the boards would most likely warp over a period of time, but if I cut them into smaller lengths, not quite as wide, they tend to stay in the correct shape and flatness and all. So that's the reason I cut those down. It's a little bit more labor to glue them up and all, but I get a better board that way, and you, my customer, will be happier because the board's going to last a whole lot longer. So in a brief wrap up, we're going to cut these down to size. We're going to split them, going to run them through the planer and get them down to a uniform thickness. Then we're going to cut the lengths to the widths that we need. Then we're going to glue them up. So that's 3 steps that we're going to try to get accomplished out today. Okay. I initially wanted to cut these edges off using my table saw and a taper jig that I built, but the board is too big in this shape to use in my taper jig. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these off right here using the jigsaw. And I've got this board clamped in position right up here, and what's happened is this shoe is going to ride up against the edge of this board, and it's going to cut this line for me. So I may stop a little bit way through and let the blade cool off a little bit. I'll just see how it's reacting as I'm going along, but here we go. We're going to get after it. All right, there we go. That's not the prettiest cut, but when I get these cut in half, I will be able to true these up with my taper jig then. So that's how we're going to do it. I'm not going to bore you with the cutting of the rest of the boards, but that's how we're going to make it work out. So we'll be back. Okay, as you can see, I have the boards clamped up in my tapering jig. These clamp it down and hold it there. This edge represents the inside edge of the blade right here. So I'm going to cut this edge off right there, give it squared up, and then once I get that done, and I get all of them done, then I can come back and I can use the fence against the sides that I just trimmed off, and then cut them all to length. So we're going to trim up this one, so here we go. Okay, as you can see, it gives us a nice straight square edge. So I'm going to do the rest of the boards the same way, and then when I come back, we won't need the tapering jig anymore, and we'll use just the fence of my saw to cut all the rest of the board. So be right back. Okay, I've got all 4 of the slabs cut with the one sharp edge. So now I can move to just my table saw rip fence, and I can use that to trim off the opposite edge over here, and then that's going to give me a good square parallel boards on both sides. So I've got to do all 4 that away. So I'm going to knock this one down right quick, and then we'll move on to the next one. So here we go. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see this, but I didn't bring it in far enough. I'd rather take a light cut and ease into a piece like this. So I'm going to go ahead and move the saw in a little bit closer by, maybe by about another 1/4 of an inch, and we should be able to get all of that bad part out. So let me make an adjustment, and we'll try this one more time. I can make use of that one. That's going to be good. So that's one down, 3 to go. What I want to do is measure my length, or the height rather. What I have is 22 3/16 plus another 7 1/4. So that's going to be a little over 29 inches tall. So we need 26, and so we're going to be good there. And we want 24 this way, and that's nearly 28. That's almost 27. This one right here is 27 on the money, and that one's 27 3/8. So plenty wide, plenty long, or plenty tall. So now it's just a matter of running them through the planer and getting them all down to the uniform thickness. So I have to tear down the saw, get it out of the way, and then bring my planer out and get it hooked up, and then we'll get after it. So I'll be back. Well, I had a few interruptions and I didn't get started on the planing as soon as I thought I was going to today. So I decided to go ahead and just set up in my shop so I'd have lighting to run tonight. But what I found out in the course of trying to get these planed down to an even thickness is that a couple of the boards are actually bowed. They weren't bowed visible to your naked eye, but when you run them through the planer, they show up pretty good. So I'm going to run these over to a friend of mine's shop and run them through his joiner, and that'll give me a good flat surface, and then I can run them laying it on that flat surface and get them milled down so they'll have good fit. So I'm going to continue letting you watch the rest of this one. And while we're watching, if you would, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you would, please hit the subscribe button. And you might as well hit that bell icon so you get notifications every time I post another video. And lastly, if you would, please share my channel and my videos with your family and friends. I'd greatly appreciate it. So I'm going to step on out of here, and we will see you tomorrow when we start the glue up process. This video is running a little bit long, so I'm going to start video number 2 with the glue up process. So I'll see you tomorrow.